Hi, I'm Mary Jo Feely with Fourth Dimension Healing in Stillwater, Minnesota. I'm also the director of the Center for Crystal and Healing Studies, which is my online school where I offer a variety of courses in Reiki, energy healing, and crystal healing, as well as I offer some free mini courses and a couple of free ebooks. I'm also the host of the Ask, Learn, Heal podcast, and through my podcast, I offer a variety of episodes and cover a variety of topics such as self-care, energy healing, crystal healing. How do we navigate the world that we are living in from a place of compassion and grace? I also include with each of my podcast episodes guided meditations. So whether you are looking for a chakra balancing meditation, a meditation that helps you learn how to work with gemstones and crystals, or perhaps you're looking for some guidance related to how to navigate the tough things going on in our world, you'll find that through my podcast. And you can find links for all of these below this video. Today, I want to take just a couple of minutes to talk with you about how to work with gemstones and crystals that are in the shape of a wand. Now, when we think of a wand is really an extension of our own energy. If we think of magic, we think of Merlin the Magician, we think of Harry Potter, we think of Hermione, they all have wands that they work with because those are an extension of the power that is moving through them. So it's a good representation, it's a good metaphor for extension. So I thought perhaps what would be helpful for you is to take a look at some of the gemstone and crystal wands that I work with here in my healing practice, in my crystal healing practice, and you may begin to think about how you might want to incorporate that type of crystal healing modality into your own personal work or work with others if you are a crystal healer yourself. So one of the first things I want to do is talk about a clear quartz wand. Again, a wand is really any kind of either naturally occurring or shaped by hand piece of quartz, crystal, any kind of a gemstone, any kind of other crystal that is going to have a little bit thicker end and a little bit more tapered end. And it's the tapered end through which the energy flows. So that is kind of like the pointing away if we are directing energy away. If we want to direct energy towards something, then we would turn it so that, again, the point is directed towards the area that we want to work with. An example of working with a wand, such as this actually Lemurian crystal, is to point it. Perhaps, let's say, we have an issue going on with our wrist and we want to break up some of that congested energy. We can do that. Now, it's more than just pointing a stone or a rock or a crystal at a body part or for a specific reason. It is about intention. So by setting the intention, then we are inviting and calling in the energies of clearing, of healing, of releasing, whatever it may be that you're working with. Because this is the end through which the energy is going to flow, I like to place it near my hand chakra, my palm chakra, either right on it or sometimes I'll nestle it. You can see here, I'll nestle it with my fingers so that the energy that is pooling within my palm chakra is then going to be moving through the actual crystal wand and be much more intentionally directed. So again, let's say I've got something going on with my wrist, setting the intention that I'm working on releasing, loosening up whatever energies may be kind of bogged down and stuck, so to speak, in some of those cells and tissues in that area. I can move the wand around. I can imagine that it's kind of like if you were, maybe you're power washing, right? Or maybe you're washing a car and you have your hose and you're moving it back and forth to move the debris. That's an example of, at least for me, the same kind of way I would instruct you to work with a wand. So the clear quartz wand is a really great one. Now this happens, as I mentioned, to be a Lemurian quartz, but you can get quartz in a number of different varieties and shapes. And again, if it's got that elongated shape, that will function really well as a wand. Another example of a wand that I work with a lot is selenite. And the gemstones and crystals I'm showing you, these wands are actually the ones I work with when I'm working with crystal healing clients. So the beauty of working with selenite is that it has all these striations. So again, holding it, if you're left hand dominant, you're going to hold it in your left hand. That would be my recommendation. Again, allowing the energy that's building within your palm chakra to move out and through. So it's a wonderful way to work with it that way. It's also anytime you're working with crystal grids, and I have other videos about making crystal grids, you'll want to have, again, that directional, intentional energy being directed into your grid, connecting the different gemstones and crystals that are part of your grid. Wands work really great for that, okay? And so this is selenite. Here's another example of, this is a hand-formed wand. And this is lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli is a stone that is very much associated with the brow chakra, with that crown chakra. It's that inspiration and calling forth that divine guided wisdom to bring that into the body. So working with a stone as specifically for the healing properties of the stone and with that particular shape being a wand can be really helpful. So if I am, let's say, working with this stone for myself and I want to clear out some encumbered thinking patterns, and maybe I'm worrying about something, or maybe I'm just feeling a little bit of a funk, I can bring this up into that brow and crown chakra. Sometimes I'll work actually with both sides of the brain so that we're getting a balance between both brain hemispheres. That could be really a great way to offer that kind of loosening. Another way would be to hold it again with its more receptive and in the palm. And it's almost easier sometimes to like direct it away this way. Sometimes I will actually use two hands as if the energy is moving through my hands and then out. So I want you to experiment when you're working with the crystal wands that you have or that you may be interested in adding to your crystal toolkit, because there's no really right or wrong way, but there are ways that you're going to find to be more effective. Just like a lot of other things in life, we find things that work one way for us and somebody else might find that they work differently. Here's a piece of blue kyanite, a very stormy, balancing frequency. It's wonderful to work with when we're working with all of the chakras and the energy field. Another thing I like to do with wands is sometimes actually lay them on the body or around the body. And let's say I wanted to lay it at the heart chakra or at the throat chakra, knowing that the directional energy is either going up or coming down is going to be really important for you to be aware of. If you work with a pendulum is a way to get some guidance from that subtle energetic awareness, and it can help you determine which side you would like to use away or towards your body. And if you are curious about pendulums, I have some other videos about that as well. Here's a piece of septarian. Now, septarian is a really amazing stone. It actually has 3 stones within it. It has aragonite and, oh, here's my aragonite. Perhaps you've seen this before. So it's aragonite, and it has orange calcite, and it has chalcedony, which is a form of quartz, and a kind of a translucent form of golden yellow quartz. And so when we're working with this kind of a stone, it's got these various properties. In this case, we've got some earth, we've got some fire, and we have this layering effect that happens when we are working with septarian. Again, I have other videos about septarian, so you can learn more about the properties. But this is a wonderful stone to work with, particularly if you want to work with a wand in this particular, with this particular type of gemstone, and you want to work with it with those lower 3 chakras. This can be really effective. Again, pointing it towards, let's say, your solar plexus chakra, maybe pointing it away from your solar plexus chakra if you'd like to clear out some of those energies that might be interfering with your balance state within that chakra. So again, this is a really nice example of how to work with more of that earth and fire kind of energy in the form of a wand. And this final one that I wanted to show you, this was actually gifted to me by my Reiki master teacher when I became a Reiki practitioner quite some time ago. And I really appreciated receiving it. This is calcite, some honey calcite, and then a little bit more of almost like a whiter, clearer calcite. And it's a particularly clearing kind of gemstone. And when I work with it, I find that it really lights a little bit of a spark, and yet it also has this more, because of the whiter, lighter tones, connects up with those higher chakras, even the ones above the crown chakra. So working with this again, perhaps with a crystal grid where you're learning how to create a pattern of gemstones and crystals, and then when we use a wand with grids, we are actually connecting all the energies of each individual stone together so that we are collectively bringing those grid energies together. So that is an example of how you can definitely work with a wand to be able to support the crystal healing through the grid work. So that's just a quick example of some of the different wands that I work with. If you're curious about wands, please let me know. I would be happy to explore what you might be looking for. And my approach is always, what are the elements that you are looking for? What's going on within your own personal life? If you're building a crystal toolkit for as a crystal healer yourself, how is it that you are being called to work with the wands at this time to be able to provide a real wide variety of ways to approach body, mind, spirit healing through the use and work with and partnership with gemstones and crystals. So reach out to me if you have questions. You can send me a chat through my website. You can send me an email. I'm more than happy to get back to you and help you sort things out. For now, I simply wish you many blessings. Be well.